My name is Allison Jones. Thank you so much. We will be recording this session so that folks can watch this later on if they weren't able to make it to this session. We still want them to be able to get all of the information. If you have colleagues who want to watch this later, they can request an external training through professional development. So where you would go to see the ProDev calendar, on that main website, there's a link in I believe it's the upper right-hand corner to request external training. You can request to watch this video and get flex credit for it. So please share that with your colleagues for those who missed it and are still interested in watching. So thank you again for joining us. My name is Allison Jones. I am an earth science instructor, and I am also the distance learning faculty coordinator. And I am joined today by our wonderful distance learning team, and I will let them introduce themselves in just a moment. I want to give you a bit of a roadmap for today. This is what we will be discussing, kind of an overview. So we'll do some introductions. You'll get to know everybody on the team. We will be providing some updates in Canvas. So what's new, what's exciting, some new features that are available to you. We will go over the online review process. Some things have changed. We want to make sure you're all aware of those changes. We will discuss accreditation and how that affects distance learning, or how distance learning is involved in accreditation. And we'll talk about RSI. You've probably heard this initialism thrown around a little bit, RSI, regular substantive interaction. We'll be talking a little bit about that and why it's so important. We will discuss an example LTI Harmonize. Some of you may already be familiar with Harmonize, but it's a wonderful tool for establishing RSI in your classroom. So we'll talk about that. And at the end, we'll give you an opportunity to ask questions, and we'll provide you some resources to help you be successful this semester in your classes. Are there any questions about where we're going today, what the roadmap looks like? Okay, wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and let the team introduce themselves. If you want to come off mute and tell us who you are, Janeth.
Hi, I'm Janeth, and I am the distance learning director. And I'm happy to be here with you this wonderful WoW Wednesday.
And I'm Cindy Birdsong. I'm the Canvas admin. I'm the one that would be doing all your blueprints. So make sure you get those requests to me this week.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aisha Gaines. I am the accessibility specialist. A lot of you have probably worked with me, and I'm basically just here to help you make your online and hybrid courses accessible.
All right, good morning. My name is Tara Wolf, and I'm an instructional designer here in distance learning. I know I've emailed with some of you, so I'm here to help answer questions, help you design your best course possible, and using some of these different tools integrated within Canvas. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. We are so lucky to have the team that we have. We have some really special, talented folks on the team. We couldn't do the work that we do here at Sierra College without them. Please utilize these folks. They are so valuable. So if you haven't worked with them before, please reach out to them. They are really great at what they do. So they are here for you. And just to reiterate, I'm the faculty coordinator. So again, I'm a faculty member, and I liaise between faculty and the distance learning team. All right, I am so excited to share with you some new things that we have in Canvas for you to utilize. Many of these things are global changes that have been pushed out through Canvas, so everybody has access to them. And then some of these changes are available to you as a feature option that you can enable in individual courses. So it's up to you whether you decide you want to use them or not. So I tried to highlight here which ones are things you can utilize, or sorry, things that you can toggle on in your class. I see Warren, you can barely hear me. Are other people having a hard time hearing me?
I am too, actually.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. Fine. I mean, I can, but I have my volume all the way up. So
all good. I kind of anticipated this would happen. I struggle with this microphone.
Oh.
If I use my AirPods, can you hear me better?
Oh. Yes, and you can talk quieter.
Okay, then I'll use my indoor voice. Okay, awesome. Please let me know. I have the chat open so I can kind of see it as I'm talking, but let me know if you can't hear me or if I'm too loud. All right, so I'm excited to share these things with you. A lot of new exciting stuff. Again, those with the asterisk here on the slide, these are feature options that you can enable at the course level if you want to use them. You do not have to. They are totally optional. All right, so the first exciting new development, and I'm going to preface this by saying I had the wonderful opportunity to attend InstructureCon this summer, and that is the conference that is put on by Instructure, the makers of Canvas, so the folks who actually make our learning management system, Canvas. So it was really cool to actually speak to their product managers and their engineers directly and to really hear from them sort of what's coming down the pipeline and what new changes they are putting forward. So anyway, this is direct from InstructureCon. So it's as up to date as I could possibly make it. So first big change is there is a to-do mobile app. This is for your students. So students who have smartphones, this is available on Android and iOS, they can actually put a widget on their homepage in their phone that will show them their to-do list from Canvas. So if your students are having a hard time keeping track of their assignments, this is a great way for them to have it front and center on their mobile device homepage. They can enable this on their own device if their device allows widgets. So a very cool feature for your students. The next big global update was a redesigned files page. Many of you may have already noticed. Has anybody already noticed the new files page in Canvas? Give me a thumbs up or raise your hand if you have seen the new files page. Maybe you didn't notice. Cool. All right. Dan has seen it. Great. So Canvas did a global redesign of the files page. It's more modernized. It has paginated views, a clear file management system. This is on by default. So everybody's files page now is modernized. However, if you really like that old interface for the next few months, you can toggle it back to the old interface. So there's a button, I believe it's, yeah, up in the right-hand corner. Where's my pointer? I have a pointer somewhere here. Laser pointer up here in the right hand corner. You can switch to old files page if you're much more comfortable with that. Totally fine for the next few months. All right, next fun big change, we've enabled name pronunciation. So this is awesome, and this is available to any Canvas user. You can now add name pronunciation to your profile. So this is what it looks like on the top right here. This is the edit view. So you can Google what name pronunciation might look like for your name. My name, Allison Jones, is pretty straightforward, but I did look it up just to see what the phonetic pronunciation would look like. And you can type it in there as you wish. And then once you save that change, it'll be available on your profile view. So if students or colleagues are clicking on your Canvas profile, they'll now see your name pronunciation there. So nice way to help your students out if they struggle to pronounce your name.
And then Daniel had a question about that previous one for the next few months. That
Yeah.
option, does that mean it's going to hard code later, like switch? Yeah. Usually that's what
Yeah.
it means, but we don't know when that would be.
Yeah, they didn't give us a hard deadline for the switch to the new files page. So feel free to use the old files, for now, but then maybe play around with that new files page and get comfortable with it before it becomes permanent. Any questions so far about mobile app, files page, name pronunciation? Great, thanks Daniel for the question. Another really nice feature, especially for our students and our colleagues who have dyslexia or struggle to read standard text, Canvas has enabled a new font style. It's available in your individual user settings. It's their dyslexia-friendly font. And this is available to all users. It's off by default. But again, if you go into your user settings and you can toggle on this dyslexia-friendly font, excuse me, and it will help make the text more legible for those who need it. Let your students know.
Allison, is
Uh-huh.
this something that we should do on our end, or is this something that, okay, so we just use a standard font and then they can turn on dyslexia friendly font?
Yeah, if you need it yourself, you can turn it on in your user settings. But if the student needs it, encourage them to go to their user settings and toggle it on.
And then that would also be like if you have a screenshot of something with text, it's not going to do that because it's a picture. But if you have actual text, it should apply to just text, right? I mean, that's my understanding. It's any text that's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is on a user by user case. Sonia, is this info being pushed out to all students? It is not. I do have a couple of things here that I think SAS might be interested in. So I'm going to work with SAS to make them aware of some of these updates, especially this font and our next feature, I think are both really, really useful, particularly to SAS students. I
Allison,
don't know. Go ahead.
sorry, would it be possible for you to maybe make a Canvas page that you put on Commons that we could just put a page in our shells that say, for students, what's new? Here's the widget, here's the dyslexia friendly font, here's the name pronunciation.
Things that are like particular to students?
Things that are particular to students, yes.
Sure.
And then
Yeah,
that way we can all just plug in that page from Commons into our welcome. Sorry to give you more work, and thank you.
no problem. I think that's pretty straightforward. We can do that. Thank you. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay. The next one I think is also very exciting, and I know it will help me as an instructor, and I hope it will help all of our other instructors. This is called differentiation tags. And this allows instructors to apply tags to students. It's very similar to groups, but groups in your courses are visible to students. Differentiation tags are private and visible only to instructors and observers. And this is a great way to keep track of students in whatever way. Some example use cases of this would be students needing accommodations. I plan on using it this way. You may have students who need 1.5 times extra time on exams or 2 times extra time. This is a great way to tag those students so you don't forget who needs that additional time. You may want to tag athletes or those who may have conflicts with deadlines in your class and you need to keep track of them. And maybe you need to assign separate due dates for them. And you may want to tag maybe students who are ill and who are absent from your class for a little while and needing to catch up. You may want to tag those folks as well. These are not visible to students. These are only visible to the instructor and observers. So these are private to you. Great way to keep track of all of those little details that, when you have hundreds of students, it's sometimes hard to keep track of all that information, right? So this is off by default. However, you can go into your course settings, go to feature options. It's a tab at the top, and enable differentiation tags. And that will give you access to this feature. What I have here in the screenshot is the people page in an example Canvas page. This is just straight from Canvas. It's not our instance of Canvas. This is this is an example from their website, their documentation. And when you're on the people page in your course and you have differentiation tags enabled, you will see a manage tags button here. And so that's how you will add new tags to your course, and then you'll be able to apply them to individual students. Pretty cool, right? I think that's really cool. Any questions about this feature? Can you show us a demo? Yeah, if we have time at the end, Susie, I'd be happy to. We have a lot to get through in this session. So maybe we'll have like future sessions on future workshops later on. We'll actually demo these individual features. If we have time at the end, I will try to show you. Will it show up in, sorry?
Can you have multiple tags for a single student, and where do these show up for us? Like,
Great questions. Yeah, so you can have multiple tags. It's something like up to 30 or 40 tags per student. So you probably won't max it out. And you will see these on both the people page and the grade book. So very valuable places to be seeing these tags. So yes, Jay, you will see tags in the grade book.
I'm just popping on. Is there still the notes column? So there was like a notes thing in the grade book where I would just like try to log all this stuff, but that's there as well.
Yep, is there too? Yeah, I always use the notes for this, and I'm really excited to have this alternative. Okay, also key feature, I forgot to say this. You know how you can assign assignments to individual students and you can give individual students separate due dates? Now you can use differentiation tags to assign that group of students a separate due date. So let's say you have students who add your class a few days or a week late. You might want to give them a different deadline for some of those assignments than the rest of your class. So this is an excellent application for differentiation tags. You can assign those a different due date.
I'm
Very
sorry, is it
exciting.
called anonymous? I'm looking at it. Is it called anonymous instructor annotations?
No, it should be called
No,
differentiation tags.
differentiation. I don't see it.
I don't see it in mine.
I don't see it in mine either.
Okay. That's Luda, right? Who's speaking?
It's Marcia.
Marcia? Okay.
Yeah.
Would you do me a favor and go to your people page for me?
Okay.
I wonder if it's just automatically enabled. Do you see the manage tags button?
Yes.
Okay, so it's automatically enabled for folks. This is great. Okay, so no need to go to feature options. Everyone should have this available.
I was trying to even get that done. Thank you.
Yep, one less step. Nobody needs to do any homework for this. Okay, and Tara has popped in the Canvas guide for how do I create and manage differentiation tags as an instructor. Thank you, Tara. I'm going to keep moving forward. We got a lot to cover. We have enabled enhanced rubrics. So if you're looking for the redesigned rubrics, that is called enhanced rubrics. And again, this is a feature option, so you can decide whether to toggle this on or not. And this offers you new ways of editing your rubrics and managing your rubrics. So you can drag and drop your criteria. You can reorder them. I know that's kind of annoying that when you work with the original rubrics editor, you can't reorder your criteria. That drives me nuts. So now you can. There's a draft mode before publishing. So if you get sidetracked in the middle of editing your rubrics, like I often do, you can actually save your draft and come back to it later. You can view your rubrics now in 3 different modes: vertical, horizontal, and the traditional mode. So as you're doing grades, you can view those rubrics in different ways. So as you're providing feedback, you can view your rubric in various formats. There is usage tracking, so you can see how you're using your rubrics across all your assignments. You can search, sort, archive, and copy your rubrics. You can also export them and import them for reuse across classes. And again, this is a feature option that you can enable in your course settings. We're all web-based content developers and instructional designers now. Yeah, you bet. Steve, yes. All the skills you never knew that you would need as an instructor. But yeah, attending this session, you'll be well equipped for the new semester. Any questions about enhanced rubrics?
Just
Natalie, yeah.
one thing. Sorry. Are we gonna get a PD or the slides for this? Or could we get the slides for this? I keep taking screen captures and that seems foolish. So
You bet. We will send out the slides. The links that Tara is putting in the chat, they're also linked here
okay.
at the top of each slide. So when we send the slides out, you will have access to those Canvas guides as well.
Love that. Thank you.
And this is being recorded too, so at least, yeah. I like to go back over the videos when if I have to review.
Yep, watch it at double speed. All right, next up, the long-awaited multiple checkpoints for discussions. We multiple checkpoints has gone through kind of some ups and downs. When they initially released it back in January, there were some major issues with it. So we had enabled it and quickly turned it off because the problems were just too widespread. So we've now enabled this, and it allows for instructors to have multiple checkpoints or multiple due dates per discussion. So if you're the type of instructor who wants students to apply to, or reply to a topic on one day and then reply to their peers on another day, you can now have two separate assigned due dates. Tara has popped the Canvas guide into the chat. It's awesome. If you use Harmonize simply for this feature, like I do, you'll be very excited about this. So this is available for everybody. To access it while you're creating a new discussion or editing an existing one, it has to be a graded discussion. This is kind of the catch here. It does have to be graded in order to have multiple checkpoints. Make sure it's graded and then select assign graded checkpoints, and then you can assign those separate due dates. You will also have the ability to assign separate point values. So you can have that initial reply be 5 points and every reply after that be 2 points. So you can vary the point value. Questions on checkpoints? Tara, yay, you're welcome. Thank Canvas. They finally did it. All right, moving on. Okay, so this was a huge announcement that came out of InstructureCon. And some of you may have already heard this information, but I just want to let you know what's, again, kind of coming down the pipeline. So Instructure, the makers of Canvas, they announced a partnership with OpenAI. And so you can expect to start seeing AI folded into some of Canvas's products. Many of these are going to be optional. So if you're overwhelmed by the thought of, having AI as part of your normal workflow, totally understandable. You do not have to use these tools. At the moment, and by the way, they're calling this Ignite AI. That is their AI tool that's going to be embedded throughout Canvas. So whenever you see this purple star icon, that indicates that AI is being used in that feature. Currently, Ignite AI is folded into the Smart Search feature, which we have turned on at Sierra College. It's another feature option that you can enable in your course settings. So if you use Smart Search, that uses AI to search your course. So that's an example of how this is being built in. Some other ways that Ignite AI is being built in is they have a feature called discussion summaries. We don't have that turned on at the moment. They also have a translation feature, an AI translation feature. We also don't have that turned on. If you're curious, that translation feature is limited to the inbox and discussions, and it is a feature option. If that's something that you're interested in, talk to us, because we want to hear what sorts of things faculty are interested in making available in their classes. So if translations or discussion summaries sound interesting to you, please let us know so that we can vet these tools and make them available if people are interested. Again, to enable Smart Search, you go into your course settings, go to feature options, and turn on Smart Search. This, again, allows students and instructors to search course content, and students will only see published course content. That was an issue when they first launched this. Students were seeing unpublished course content. That wasn't great, but they have since fixed that. And this is also great if you go for it.
Could you give an example of what someone would search for?
I search my own class for pages. I can't remember what I titled them, but I know the general topic,
Okay.
So like, what did I call my Igneous Rocks page? I don't know. I probably called it Igneous Rocks, but maybe I didn't. Right.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And then the Smart Search is a navigation button. I think it's already enabled, so I don't think they have to enable it. I think you just have to make sure it's in your navigation available ones to click on in your navigation.
Got it. Yeah. So you want it in your course navigation. Okay. Perfect. Thanks, Cindy. So that's all just to tell you that AI is coming. Canvas is building AI into their products. So just be aware that that is, again, coming down the pipeline. They are looking to fold in AI assistance for generating assignments and rubrics. Again, feature you don't have to use, but they are building it. And then for an additional subscription, they're going to make AI chatbots available to instructors. Now,
has anybody, like, is our content protected from this stuff just turning out into the whole world? Like,
yeah, that's everyone's first question, right? Like, what
okay.
happens to my course content? Is that like being used to train AI models? The answer is almost always no, but they're very clear about when and how your course content is going to be used. And they are calling it the Ignite AI Nutrition Facts, which is what I have here in the screenshot. And so for anywhere where you see that Ignite AI icon, you'll be able to click and view those nutrition facts. So what the base model is, whether it's Claude or GPT-5 or whatever, whether it's trained with user data, right? This just says flat out, no, it's not. How the data is shared with the model. In this case, it's very small, I'm sorry. It says course discussion prompt and replies. Those are shared with the model in this case. Privacy and compliance, whether data is retained, data is not shared or reused by that model. And then data logging, it does log data. Summaries are logged in the, oh, I can't read it, it's too small, Canvas database for review and reuse, right? So these are all things that we're going to be vetting as they get pushed out. But Canvas is saying that they are going to share these, what they call nutrition facts, whenever Ignite AI is involved. Fun stuff, right? We knew it was coming though, right? Okay, I am going to pass this on. I think Tara, you're up.
Allison,
on
I have a
this.
question for you before you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry to be retrospective on this, but back to the multiple due dates for discussion boards.
Yep.
Because I'm one of those instructors that likes to do that. When the assignment, so let's say I've got a discussion board, first prompting has to be done by Wednesday, and then the final thing has a Friday deadline. What I usually do is I go through on Friday and I do all of my grading using SpeedGrader. With these multiple checkpoints, is it just going to be like I'm going to be grading one assignment, or am I going to be grading the first checkpoint through SpeedGrader and then a second checkpoint through SpeedGrader? Is it all just going to be one go?
It'll be one go.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah, yep, you're welcome. All right, handing it off to Tara.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. So some updates or some reminders for some of you. Studio video quizzes previously was available as an ungraded quiz. Now there is a way to add your studio video quizzes to an assignment within Canvas so that those grades can be recorded in gradebook and be counted as part of the grade. Which is excellent news if you want students to be accountable for answering those questions. So you'd create an assignment within Canvas, and then under external tool for the submission, you would add a studio and then choose the video. So this is great news, and I'm really excited they added this feature. And the view in discussions has some additional options. When you go into Canvas discussions, you can have the regular kind of threaded reply view. There's also an option. There's a button at the top of your screen for split screen reply viewing, which is what we see here within the image. So kind of the left half of the screen has the general discussion, and then the threaded replies show up on the right side. So there's a little less scrolling to view the replies. You can see the original post and replies right next to it. You can toggle back and forth between the split view and the split screen view and the inline view by clicking the button at the top of your discussions page. So it's just another option for you to use if you're interested to help you get through all those discussion posts.
Let's see. Okay.
Cindy.
Oh yeah. So just a few reminders. So you can create your own sandboxes now. That's been turned on for maybe a couple of years. And so it's great for, well, I'll just go through the 3 things I'm going to talk about really fast. And let's see, can now add a signature block to your inbox messages. So when you inbox people, your signature block is there. You can also add an out of office message, which is really cool. And then another thing is users can see the pronouns in the inbox, your inbox name, which is kind of nice if you have them set up in your profile. So if we go to the next slide, I kind of dive down a little bit. So to create your own sandbox, just go to your dashboard, and over in the lower right, you'll see this button, start a new course. And that's good for like if you want to experiment with some things or start building a new class or, yeah, I know, I'm looking at the chats that we're going. And if you want to share content with other faculty, we can't put them in a live class, but you can copy it into a sandbox and then just send me the information and I can add them to your sandbox where you want to share your content. So yeah, that's kind of a fun thing. And I think, I don't know if a lot of people are aware that you can create your own sandbox. So, all right, next slide. Yeah, so the inbox messages, if you go to your inbox, click on the settings in the upper right, you can add a signature block, which is nice because, you know, you can have all the information that we normally have in our email signature blocks, and you can add it to your inbox signature blocks. And the inbox lives inside Canvas. Anyway, and that's where also you'd add your out of office message, which is really nice. And it doesn't have to necessarily be out of office. You can use it just as a sort of a verification that you got the email to give students kind of that, you know, peace of mind that, okay, good, my email went through and the teacher has it. So yeah, that's kind of a nice feature. I think it came up during the summer, maybe. It's pretty recent that they added that. So anyway, and the next one. And then the pronouns, if you want to have optional pronouns, you'd go back to your profile in Canvas. The same place that Allison showed where to put the pronunciation. If you go to your settings and go to edit, that's where you can add the pronouns. The pronouns are going to be a drop down, and it's a select specified pronouns that we have in Canvas. So anyway, yeah. Any questions about those?
I have a question about sandboxes in general. I used to teach at Los Rios, and even though you've done a great job of responding right away and adding for my request, we had purview to just invite other instructors to our own sandbox shells if we wanted to. Is that something that's different,
I believe
different because of union rules or something?
No. I think there must be a setting that they have different over there. For the sandboxes here, you can give people a course invite, but I think it only adds them as a student. But
Okay.
if you email me, let me know, send me a link to your sandbox. I can make you like a course admin, so then you can add teachers or other people to it. They just have to see your college account. That's all. They have to be able to log in.
It was just something I noticed that was different. They didn't allow us to make the sandboxes, but we could invite anyone to our courses. So it was kind of just a comment.
We're opposite.
But yeah,
just
so we
send
would
me an
have to
email, and I can give you that
okay
permission to be able to add other people. Yeah.
Okay, we're switching gears. All right. Any remaining questions about new Canvas features? Because we're going to change gears entirely now.
I have a quick question, Allison. And
Go ahead,
sorry,
Heather.
I was switching over from my phone to my office computer, so you may have said this and I missed it. It was the part where you can do the tags, like for example, extended time. And I caught that as I was logging in, but it doesn't actually do the thing to add the extended time, right? It's just reminding you. Okay.
Correct.
That's what I
Yeah,
just want
it's
to make
just a
sure.
reminder. Yeah, thank you for
you.
clarifying.
Yep.
Just a reminder to yourself. They're like notes to self.
Oh, and Vernon has his hand up.
Go ahead, Vernon.
Yeah. Do you have any information on the self-assessment feature that came with enhanced rubrics?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I did intend to include that and it just slipped my mind entirely. Yes, so and that's such a big one.
Be off camera when I have questions.
Say that again. Oh, I didn't hear you, Vernon.
Oh, nothing. Sorry.
Okay. Yes. So another really exciting part of the enhanced rubrics is that students now have the ability to self-assess. So they can use rubrics now to give themselves a score. That score is not graded. It doesn't go to the grade book. However, it is shown to the instructor as the instructor is assessing them. So you can see your student's assessment of themselves and you can provide your own assessment using the same rubric, which is super cool. So that is also available in enhanced rubrics. And I'm sorry that I don't have a screen capture here demonstrating what that looks like. If we have time at the end, I will try to show you.
Yeah, I think I enabled it this summer. And it looks really easy. It's just at the bottom of the assignment, but I never could find out what the student assessment looked like, right? How they assess their own work. So I don't know if that is a screenshot that you have available too.
Yeah, not off the bat, but I will try to find it for you.
Thank you.
I'll send it out with these slides. And I think one thing that came up with the self-assessment is that I don't think there's a way to give them a separate due date for the self-assessment. So it's a little funky. The self-assessment is due at the same time that the actual assignment is due. If I'm remembering that correctly.
I get that. I just it seemed like a really promising feature to encourage students to actually view the rubric and understand what's expected of them before they're able to turn in the assignment. So I'm also curious in some of my assignments to see how they actually did assess their work.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be able to see, that, and I just don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, you bet. I'll add it to these slides before I send them out for you. M&A?
So I wasn't aware of this feature, the enhanced rubrics. Is this for Canvas discussion assignments, or is it a specific assignment that can be used? Like if I use Harmonize, can I include enhanced rubrics? I'm just like, I don't know what is that, this enhanced rubrics can be used. Is it just for the Canvas assignments or something else?
It is for all assignments where rubrics currently occur. And Cindy, I don't know if you happen to know any more about this.
Can you say it one more time? Sorry, I was responding to some chat stuff. What was the question?
I was just asking about the enhanced rubrics. Is this a feature only for Canvas assignments, or is it for, the added features like Harmonize? Because I use rubrics in Harmonize discussions.
I don't know. Shoot.
That's okay.
External tool.
I didn't even know what is enhanced rubrics until you guys talked about it, and it just didn't occur. I didn't see it before. So I was just
I'm
curious.
inclined to say no, it's not available with the LTIs. I think I tried it with a studio quiz, which is an LTI. I tried it with the studio quiz the other day and couldn't get it to work. My inclination is no, not with LTIs, but with standard assignments, yes.
Yeah, because it's a great feature, as what Vernon was saying. It kind of, I think it will be great for students to assess themselves before they see our assessments of them. Yeah, okay, great, thank you.
Sir, Robert.
I just had a quick question about that, how we can add the second due date for discussions, which is great. But I noticed, I looked at it just now, I saw that option you talked about we could break up the grade between the initial response. Well, I take care of that in my rubric at the end. So could I just put 100 at the end for just, what if I left them both 0, would that be fine?
Yes, you can have all your points in the rubric instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I put 0 in both of those, it's not going to show up as 0 in the grade book or anything like that.
I don't believe so. But let's Robert, we can play around with it later and see how that works. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to move forward. We're at 9:11. And we've got still more to cover. So I'm going to move on to the new-ish MOU. Many of you who have been at Sierra College for a little while, at least over the last 6 months, may have heard of the new MOU that came out about the online review process. And I just want to go over this very briefly because it does impact distance learning and online course review. Just want to make you all aware of these changes. And if you're new, this is the new review process that you will follow. This is the new review process that everybody's going to be following. So this is straight out of the MOU. Faculty will go through a review process in order to be able to teach online or hybrid classes. This process, this is what it looks like. Faculty have to take training either before they are assigned an online class or hybrid class, or during the first semester that they're teaching online or hybrid. So if you're assigned an online class and you can take that training at the same time that you're teaching for the first time, that is totally okay. Faculty who have completed qualified training elsewhere. So let's say, you've worked for Los Rios and you've done an equivalent training. Let our DL director, Dr. Janet Norman, know, and she will approve your qualified training from somewhere else if you provide documentation. You don't have to complete our training here. Faculty will go through this approval process in the second semester that they teach online or hybrid. All right, so if in your second semester you're not teaching online or hybrid, you're not going to go through this approval process. It's the next time you teach online or hybrid. And this is whether or not you're teaching the same class. So it doesn't matter which class you're assigned in that second semester. It could be any class. This initial approval process is separate from the contractual evaluation process, and it has always been separate. But what is now different is that during future evaluation, so your actual contractual evaluation, if you're teaching online or hybrid during that evaluation period, you will be evaluated in that online or hybrid modality. Okay, so that way there's this follow-up. Okay, so whenever you're getting your evaluation, you're also getting somewhat of a review of your online or hybrid courses. So there's that accountability and you're staying up to date and refreshed on the constantly changing world of online and hybrid education. Does that make sense why we've implemented this? Hope it does. Just to provide some accountability for folks. Christy, go ahead.
Yeah, so how does that work with part-timers right now who just got hired? They'll have to go through the online review. Are they being compensated for that, or is that part of this?
Yeah, so all faculty, part-time, full-time, get paid to go through that training. And then once they are approved, they get paid for that course for which they were approved. Yes.
Let me just jump in real quick, Allison, if that's okay.
Go for it.
We have not, we are waiting to hear from leadership about all that stuff regarding part-timers and compensation. And so there is no set policy in place right now regarding that. If I'm hoping I'm answering Christy's question.
Well, no, I mean, yes and no. What do you do? Now you have I have a brand new part-timer.
Right.
So we're it's a weird time to be stuck. You know what I mean?
know,
I'm not trying
yes.
to, there's no one's to blame. It's just a frustrating situation because I have someone who has never taught at Sierra College and I don't know what to, classes start. So what do we do? What do we do?
Give them a course template that Tara has put in the Canvas Commons, and they can upload that directly into their course shell and use that as a guide for designing their courses. And it will, if they use the guidelines for that, they will meet the RSI requirements, and it would help them with that. Yeah, so you just start them because right now we don't have anything to.
Yeah, Janet, I hear you, but everyone on this call knows the amount of work that goes into getting a Canvas course running. Even if you have a template, it is an extraordinary amount of work
Yes.
on the right behind the scenes before you're even teaching.
Yes.
And that's really problematic right now.
Yeah, it is. And so Rebecca, the VPI, she has spoken with the department chairs and the deans about these questions. And so they would be the best to answer those types of questions.
And I also want to commiserate a little bit with Christy here because additionally, these are contractual obligations, right? This is in the contract. This is in the MOU that was approved by SCFA in the district in March. So these things have to happen, and we need to figure out quickly how these things have to happen, right? Sonia, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for saying that, Allison. The MOU referred to was signed, and so that is in place, Janeth. And so I think if faculty have questions, also they should be going to their union leadership if they're not sure how that affects them, because this is not something that is currently being negotiated. It was negotiated and signed and part of our contract. So it's really important that people check in with their union leadership too, not just their department chairs. MOUs are signed and enforced.
Yeah, this went into effect immediately. Christy, you have your hand up.
I do. Just to clarify, though, the new instructors will be compensated for their going through the training process, correct? Part-time, full-time, that compensation is still there. So
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So I have two, I'm the department chair of my department. I have two new faculty members. Is there a boot camp class available that I can direct them to?
Not at the moment. I am going to have to defer to Janeth on that question because we don't currently have one scheduled.
No, and as soon as we get the approval to schedule it, we're ready to go. We're waiting for leadership to give us direction. That was what I was trying to convey about the other question. Yeah, and I understand I've been a part-time faculty for 15 years. So I understand the need to compensate them, and they will be compensated for sure. But how that's all going to play out, really, I don't have any answers. And I would like to just, let you know that I totally understand the predicament. And we're just waiting to hear from leadership.
Jennifer, did that answer your question from the chat?
No, I was wondering if the MOU actually mentions compensation, because if this MOU is signed and it has compensation in it, then this is a done deal. You're good to go.
When this came up the other day in the chairs meeting, I believe what was conveyed was that we will follow the contract.
Let me see if, because I'm sharing, I can't do this at the moment, but I'm going to see, Tara, any chance you could drop a copy of the MOU that I sent you into the chat? Are you able to do that? Jen, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So everyone will have a copy of this MOU. It was sent out to everybody back in March. Very busy time though, I understand. So please take a look at it. And yes, you're correct. This has already been approved by SCFA in the district. Fortunately, it was signed before everything else happened. All right, I do have a little bit more to say about the review cycle. One other feature of the MOU is that we will be offering a refresher training. We thought it was really imperative that folks receive regular updated training every few years to keep them current. And so we'll be offering a 3-hour refresher course that folks will, again, this is in the MOU, that folks will need to complete every 3 years. Okay, so I've outlined here a sample instructor review cycle, if you will. And some of this I'm going to restate from the previous slide. So prior to your course review, an instructor is assigned their first online or hybrid course. During that semester, they can take boot up, or they could have taken it previously, or maybe they've taken an equivalent training. All of that has to be determined by our director. But again, this is happening prior to the review. The course is then reviewed for effective practices and accessibility the second time that instructor teaches online. A course doesn't have to be the same course. And again, these are effective practices and accessibility standards that have been set by the Light and the Academic Senate. These are all things that we already have in place. Once a faculty member is approved to teach online or hybrid, let's say that the clock starts. So they have 1 semester, 2 semesters, 3 semesters. In semester 4 or 5, they need to complete their refresher training in order to remain able to teach online or hybrid. Does anybody know? I'm just going to throw this out there, especially if we have any chairs in the room. Anybody have any idea why we're asking folks to complete this refresher training in semester 4 or 5 so that they can stay current for semester 7? Seemed a little early.
Ooh,
Any
I know.
chairs? Yeah, yeah.
Is it because you start to get you establish pattern at the end of semester 6 for seniority?
It more has to do with scheduling than anything else, right?
Oh,
We're trying to
yeah,
get
we're
ahead
scheduling
of
years out. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
We're scheduling. They want us scheduling at least a year out right now. I don't know that that's necessarily happening, but that's the goal. So, in order to know who we're able to staff in online or hybrid courses, we're asking that folks complete that training before that semester 7 actually arrives. Does that all make sense to folks? We want to make sure we know who's able to teach those online and hybrid courses. Okay. So you take your refresher training, you're good to go. Okay. If you don't complete that refresher training by the end of semester 7, you're not going to be able to be assigned that online course in semester 7. Does this schedule
When
kind of make
does
sense to folks?
when does this start taking place with having the refresher? Like, are you going to have this whole slew of people who've been teaching online for more than 2 years go in to do a refresher course next semester?
We are working on figuring out how to stagger that a little bit because we don't want everybody on the same schedule here. That would be quite a lot for folks to be taking the refresher all at once, we think, but we're working on it. Sorry, I wish I had a clearer answer for you. Betsy asked, how do we know what our cycle is if you've been teaching online for years? Yeah, again, we're going to try to figure that out, sort of when folks are going to be required to take that refresher training. We also need to develop that refresher training. So all of this is happening right now as we speak.
So Allison, then I'm assuming this is going to take a while I mean, I, I don't know how you're going to do. There's just, there's so much, right? In terms of developing the refresher course and figuring it out who's going to do first, who's going to do second. But I'm assuming until you tell faculty, this is the semester that you have to do your refresher course, we're okay to teach the courses that we were approved already. Okay.
Yeah. We got to get our ducks in a row before we're asking you to get your ducks in a row.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Robert, I don't have an answer to that. I think what was agreed upon was a 3-hour refresher training, so it's not as intense as the reboot course that we currently have. But if that's something folks are interested in taking in lieu, we'll talk about that. That's an interesting suggestion. Okay. Again, I wish I had more information for you, but we will get you information as we have it. All right, I'm going to pass the baton to Aisha, our accessibility specialist, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about some of the changes that also occurred in the MOU related to our accessibility expectations. So these should hopefully be good. This should be good information. It should be happy information, I think.
Yes, hopefully happy information. Thank you, Allison. So there are a few changes to the accessibility review and kind of the guidelines or rubric that we are following. So there are two main sections or changes. And so the first is to score at least 90% compliant within Ally with no low scoring contents or what will be considered red flags in your course. So I have a screenshot here to the right. And so if you go to the Ally accessibility report within your course, you will pull up this dashboard, and at the top left, there will be this course accessibility score. And that is a score that we're referring to when we say 90%. And with that 90%, all of your PDFs must have optical character recognition. And then any low scoring content or red flags must be documented as unfixable. And then the second big kind of change there is just having all your videos captioned. So you should review all your videos to make sure that they have accurate captioning. And then if there are videos that are longer than 5 minutes, you are able to request captioning for those. And then it's also important to note that, if you know you're going through the review process, just say, for example, this semester, you don't want to request captioning the week before and say, well, I tried to put in a request. We ask that you put in those requests with enough advance time and not last minute. And if you need more information on making your course accessible, excuse me, we do have a lot of resources within our faculty resource guide. We have an entire accessibility section there. We also are having quite a few trainings throughout the semester for the online accessibility workshop. And I'm also having some targeted workshops for, making your external documents such as Word documents or PDFs accessible, how to write effective alt text, how to make your PDFs accessible. We're trying to provide all of that information and all of those trainings so that you feel prepared to go through this new process. And I see the chat is kind of going crazy. I don't know if it's about accessibility, but kind of trying to look here. And then I also see that there's a raised hand. So I'll go with that first. Sonia, if you want to come off mute.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm unmuted. Thank you. So my question on your slide, it says faculty should review all captions for reasonable accuracy. That word reasonable is really important. And that has come up because as language instructors, sometimes we use videos that we have obtained from other ESL instructors online, for example. And when we have used those in the past, most of us are really, really careful to use high quality videos that do have really good captioning. And I wouldn't not, and most of my colleagues in our department would not use anything that was not at least reasonably accurate. And so that word sounds a little different than some of the messages we've gotten in the past. So I was wondering if you could address that.
Okay, so I will say, as far as the language in these guidelines, I did not come up with it myself. So I can't really speak towards that. Maybe Allison or someone who may have been in the room during this discussion could give more insight on that language. That would be helpful.
Yeah, all I can say is that was the language that was agreed upon. Not, I don't think this appears in the MOU, but in our discussions, reasonable accuracy was the phrase that was used. What reasonable means, Sonia, I can't define that, but you're right. We should define that.
Okay. I mean, I'm very comfortable with things that I have chosen. And I have not always been happy when some of that was questioned. So I think reasonable is reasonable. Thanks.
Yeah. I think the understanding is that it goes beyond auto captioning, right?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
So I can't say that.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Sonia. Todd?
Yeah, quick question. My department uses a lot of technical drawings. I've had a few conversations with Tara about this, but I just curious about the bullet of uh, how do we document something as unfixable? That's the new thing to me.
That is a good question. I don't think we've really discussed how we want faculty to document that information, whether that's in an email or some other form of submission. A lot of these things are kind of still in the works and still in the making. And so I think at least in terms of if we want to determine if something is actually unfixable, I think in that case it would be okay to kind of come to me and we can work together to see, okay, is there a way that we can make this more accessible? And if not, then maybe we can document that as unfixable. So I think a lot of it will be a lot of manual checks of your content to see if it's inaccessible or unfixable. So we're still kind of working on what that will look like.
Yeah, it might be something that's categorical to a type of document for us. So we've looked, I don't want to eat up a bunch of time here, but yeah, I'm just, when that comes out, I'll be interested in how we want to document that because we're going to have instances of it. So it flags contrast when there isn't a contrast issue, but anyway.
Thank you.
All right.
Is there any other questions I missed in the chat? I wasn't able to read through all of that.
There was a question about whether Ally views all course content or just published content, and it is all course content. Is that right, Aisha? Yeah.
Yes, all content, published and unpublished.
Was the only accessibility question I think I saw. All right, I'm going to move forward.
So that basically just means as we're working on something, we work on it in the sandbox, not in the course. And then once it's cleaned up, we import it to our course. Is that probably the safest way around that?
That would be my suggestion. If there's anything that you have that you're working on that's inaccessible and you want to make it accessible, I would suggest doing it in a sandbox just so Ally gives you a lot of alerts. And if you don't want to feel overwhelmed with all of that content that you need to fix, then doing it in a sandbox and then importing it over probably would be a good option. But it's not required. It's really how you want to do it.
I've got a quick question. I was just playing with Ally in one of my courses. It was coming up as a low scoring issue for a file. I deleted the file. I looked at what it was. It was like, okay, this is one of the files that I had left in there for me. It doesn't even need to be in the course. So I just deleted the whole file out of the course, but it's still showing up as an error. So how long does it take for it to regrade and refresh when you've made changes? Because it's really frustrating when you're trying to fix things and it takes, and it doesn't show it as fixed.
Yes, so there is sometimes a lag in Ally. I've heard people say it has taken at least 48 hours. I think it really probably just depends on maybe how many people are making changes within their courses. And it really kind of just depends, but sometimes the change isn't immediate and there will be a lag. I can't say that there is a defined time though. It just depends.
So so how do we know if it's actually fixed a problem if it doesn't refresh and tell us whether or not it's fixed? I mean, my score went from 97 to 98%, so obviously it found one of the issues and fixed it, but the other issue that I fixed, it's not recognizing as fixed.
Well, I will say just try
48
to
hours. 48 hours seems
and it's
pretty
still
long.
there.
I'm not going to remember in 2 days to come back
Right.
and check again.
Yeah, I would say if you know that you deleted it, and you go through your files or whatever else and you see that it's not there, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. I mean, when we're doing reviews for courses, we're not just taking Ally for what it says. We do try to go in and manually check um, different documents and different things to make sure, okay, is it giving the error for a correct reason? So if it's still there, but you know that you deleted it, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it.
Yeah, because even though I deleted it completely out of the course, it's still showing up. When I click on the document in Ally where it's showing that it's a problem, it's still coming up, even though it was deleted. So it no longer, the file no longer exists in the course, so it shouldn't be able to open it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
it's
I'll try to
storing
look
in memory.
I'll try to look more into it. But again, if you deleted it and you know you deleted it, it's not there in the course anymore, I wouldn't worry about it.
All right. Are we okay to move on to the course template? I think you folks will probably really like to hear this information as well. Tara's going to share with us our new course template, which is really exciting, especially for our new instructors.
Yes,
I
I'm so
have a
happy.
question real quick. Where does you guys mentioned Ally? Where does it live on our Canvas? Do we have to download it?
You can find, oh, go ahead, Aisha. I'll
Oh,
let you answer.
yes, so it should be in your on the left-hand side in your course navigation. But if it isn't there, it might just be disabled. So you'll have to go to your settings, and then you can add that within the navigation tab in your settings. You would just drag it up, and then once you save that, it will show up in your course navigation.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, passing it off to Tara for the course template information.
Yes, and I'm just dropping in a link to a video that shows you how to enable Ally in to get it to show in your course navigation if it's not already. If you learn better from a video, there's that. All right. Yeah, so the course template is really exciting. This is meant to give faculty a head start on creating their online or hybrid course. If I say online during this part, I mean online hybrid, but just that modality in general. So the course template includes a homepage, a sample welcome letter, welcome to the course announcement, orientation module fully built out where you're just plugging in your course's information, and maybe updating some of those policies to go with your specific policies. It includes an introduction discussion, a meet and greet discussion, along with a rubric. You have weekly module outlines for weeks 1 to 8 and 16, including weekly overview and summary or wrap-up pages. So you have the orientation module weeks 1 and 2, gets you off to a great start. You have that idea of how your week can flow. You can use those template pages in your other weeks during your course where you're just plugging in that course's information, but it's designed using Design Plus. Everything is accessible. Everything was made with accessibility and effective practices in mind. So if you have folks in your department that are new and you want to kind of give them something to go with to get started, this is a great option for them. When I first started teaching, I wish I had something like this. There's also a page with campus resources that have a ton of links to, tutoring office, counseling, basic needs center, all of those things. So this was created during spring semester. So all those links are still current for fall. It may be worth using the course validation, the link validation checker in future semesters just to make sure those haven't been changed. But at this point, they're all current. Within that course template, you also have sample rubrics. As we learned with rubrics now, you can duplicate rubrics and then edit it for new assignments. So you always have a starting point in creating future rubrics as well. There is a syllabus quiz already built out in new quizzes where you can just edit your information, maybe update your late work policies. And there's also a mid-semester survey and end of semester survey that can give you some feedback just between you and your students, see how they're doing in the class, if there's any other supports they may need, or other ways that you can support them as you continue that course. So these are surveys just for you and your students. It's not like they're shared out with anywhere or part of like an official survey that's shared with anybody else in your department. So it's a great head start for those new faculty, and can really give you a great idea of how you can structure your modules. This is an option, right? You are not required to use the course template, but it is there for you to use as you wish. And then if we could go to our next slide. So I have kind of a preview page. To the left here is the home page. There's images of Nevada County campus, Rockland campus, and the Tahoe Truckee campus, along with some buttons that are already created, and a little reminder there below to insert a picture or instructor-created welcome video. It gives a nice kind of humanized touch to welcome students into your course, kind of minimize their nervousness getting started if they can kind of match a face to the name and to the course. Yes, and then Allison, if I could have you click on the right, that is actually a video. If you could play that, it's going to scroll through. This is an example of one of the discussions. So it is created with headings, a bulleted list, everything is fully accessible within this page. The highlighting there shows, kind of grab your attention to what you may want to edit or add links to within your own course. It has accordions there to minimize cognitive load for your students, and it has kind of all the basics there. You can, importing the course, oh, we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So finding the course template, it is available in Commons. You do not need to be logged into your Sierra College instance of Canvas in order to find this. It was created with Design Plus. So if this course template is imported into another instance of Canvas or the Free for Teachers Canvas, you will not see all the styling and kind of extras that were used to create that page. But once you import it into maybe a sandbox within your Sierra College Canvas, you'll be able to see all those beautiful designs in there as well. It is suggested that you import this into an empty course. So maybe you want to throw this into a new sandbox course so you can see everything that's there, check out what you like, and then you can import individual pages from that sandbox shell. So if your course already has information, and then like if you've already started planning your course or imported from a previous semester, if you import the course to that shell with content already existing, you risk overwriting some of your previous material. If there's any assignments or pages with the same name, it may overwrite those pages. So please do check it out in Canvas Commons. I do suggest putting it into a sandbox shell that's empty. That way you can see what you like. So you can cherry pick and kind of copy or import those pages into your live course where you may already have information. I'm checking out questions in the chat here. Yes. Okay, any questions on the course template? No? All right. So you're welcome to use this. It's available to you. Use it, don't use it, take what you want, edit, delete, add, change it as you wish. This is really meant as a resource for you if you'd like to get it started, especially for those maybe new faculty or new to online. It really gives you a nice head start.
Can I ask one question, Tara? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I noticed that there were some like kind of more robust features in that, like the tabs in the visual that you showed. I think it was like a slide back. Could we go back one and look at that?
The
Maybe?
accordions that were in there.
Yeah, well, I see like the start here, syllabus, modules. I didn't even, and then the
sure.
accordions and all of that. Is there some support? I can't read it, but is there some support that tells people how to use those more advanced tools like inside of this? Because I know folks struggle with the accordions, the tabs, the embedded navigation, which is super useful, but they're definitely advanced tools for Canvas. So are there like hints or tips or tricks within the Canvas page that kind of indicate how faculty will find those resources or get support adjusting them?
Yes, absolutely. So on the homepage itself, it's kind of cut off here, but you can see there's a very top to a beige screen. That is my welcome video for people using the template that kind of overviews what's there, how you can edit it, grabbing those template pages in. And then on some of the pages, especially the first few pages, there are additional resources to help you in editing those parts. There are also many videos on our YouTube channel, which I'll put here in the chat. I'm not sure I can type and talk at the same time. But I've also made videos in there to help with Design Plus. There is a search bar within our distance learning YouTube channel where you can search Design Plus and it will pull up all the videos to help get you started in Design Plus. And then within the Design Plus sidebar, there is also a help tab, question mark there, and they also have resources and help guides within there as well.
Awesome. I want to promote this interior navigation bar at the bottom right, the one with all the little icons and the dots next to them. Yes, my students without fail comment every semester that that is one of the most helpful features that is in my Canvas courses. And so I just put it out there, y'all. This is like really, if you work in modules anyway, that is exceptionally useful for students to know where they are within a Canvas module, how to move from one element to the next, what they have completed and what they haven't, because those things get checked off as they complete content in a module. So just personal experience, exceptional tool. The end.
Yes, thank you for sharing, Natalie. Yes, the progress bar is amazing. Yes, students, I've heard from many instructors that they love having that kind of bird's eye view of how much they have to get done for that week. So yes, thank you. And we will have trainings on Design Plus throughout the semester as well. So definitely check out Product. Yeah.
How do you access the progress bar or activate it?
The Design Plus?
Well, the progress bar, I guess.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so within Design Plus sidebar, you can either scroll through the options to find the progress bar. You would just click on your screen. I would suggest either putting it at the very top of a page or the very bottom of the page. I think most faculty typically put it at the bottom. And then you just click the tab with the plus icon, find the progress bar, and add it in.
Great,
And I can
thank you.
find, yeah.
Just one quick question. I currently have a sandbox environment and I want to take and purge out everything inside there so I can import this template. Is there a fast way to do it without me having to delete everything one by one?
Send me an email with a link to it and I can reset that course for you. Or you could just create another sandbox if you want. Totally up to you. But you can send me an email for any courses you have that are like old sandboxes or whatever, and you just don't want them in your thing anymore. Just send me an email with links to those and I can delete those courses for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any last questions on the course template before we move on? All right, great. So thank you so much and definitely share it out.
Okay, now we have an opportunity to answer some of your questions in our survey. We got a little survey for you. We want to know, we want to hear from you. So you'll see a survey pop up with 3 questions. So questions about how often you want to hear from us from distance learning, what types of trainings you're interested in, and how familiar you are with that initialism I mentioned earlier, RSI. Let us know in that survey. Are you seeing the survey? Okay, cool. Responses are rolling in. We've got about 30% of participants responding so far. I'll give it another minute.
Not letting me submit for some reason. Am I missing something? Oh, I missed a question. Sorry.
Barry asked in the chat, updates on new quizzes. I attended a session at InstructureCon about new quizzes because I've got gripes. I've got gripes with new quizzes. I want to use them and I do use them, but they have they still have some glitches and it's driving me nuts. Yes, new quizzes is here to stay. There is no timeline for turning off old quizzes. They're still making updates to new quizzes. They're still improving it, albeit a little slow, in my opinion. And they're talking about incorporating AI before even, to me, hitting the basics. Like, I don't know if there are any science folks in the room or math folks, but I'm still asking for like basic superscript and subscript capabilities in all question types. Yeah, hopefully we keep seeing improvements with new quizzes, but no phasing out of old quizzes as far as we know. Barry, I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah, no substantial changes since before COVID. There have been some, nothing really substantial. I know Chrissy's in the room. Chrissy uses new quizzes quite a bit. What changes, if you're available? Are there any changes you've seen that you like in new
I wouldn't
quizzes?
say I wouldn't say I use them quite a bit. I use them when I need to get a little creative, but I use old quizzes more than new quizzes simply because of how frustrating new quizzes can be. But
Amen. Yeah.
I've built some pretty complex science labs using new quizzes, so there are some tools that you can use. But for like standard quiz, I stuck with old quizzes.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Barry, something comes to mind. Remember we couldn't do ungraded surveys in new quizzes? Does that ring a bell for anybody?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can now. Surveys
Oh.
are available in new quizzes, which is exciting. So if that was
Wow.
holding you back. And then additionally, you used to not be able to have simple text boxes, right? No question, just a text box in new quizzes between questions. You can now have just a text box.
Okay. Well, I ran into an issue. I'm starting to switch more over to the new quizzes. And one thing I noticed was, sometimes I have a due date for my quizzes, and if the student doesn't do the quiz by that due date, then I'm just gonna like give them a 0. Well, with the new quizzes, I can't give them a 0 until they submit the quiz. Like that box
Oh, yeah.
where I can put in the number is grayed out, and I can't type anything in there.
That's so frustrating. Yeah, the only thing that I could think of that might help in that situation is putting a close date on the assignment so that it closes and like forces them to submit the assignment. That's what I've had to do
Yeah.
in that scenario.
For me, I'm using a custom grading scheme where I just have 3 levels. I have like missing, revising, and complete. And I just want to put a 0 in there to say like you didn't turn it in.
Yeah.
But I can't because it's grayed out. I actually, it just occurred to me, maybe I can do it through the grade book. But
That's what I was gonna say.
but doing it through the speed grader is much easier because you can just flip through the students and
Yeah, I think you can overwrite it in the grade book.
And there's a setting in the grade book that you can have it automatically assign a 0 for anything that's not submitted also by the due date. So that might work for you, Barry.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. But still, like, basic changes to quizzes that, like, all the features of the old quizzes are not in the new quizzes yet, and that's frustrating.
Yeah, I had a really interesting conversation with their product manager, who told me, I explained to him that I'm in the sciences and that we need these features, and he goes, "Oh, well, we just wanted to push them out so at least the humanities could use them first." And I was like, "Okay, but like, we've had new quizzes for, like you said, 10 years now. Like, let's get
Yeah.
these basic features in there." All right, I'm going to end this poll. Thank you so much for participating. Folks want to hear from us. It looks like once a month was the winning choice. Some want to hear from us once a semester, and others would want to hear from us more often. But for the most part, you want to hear from us once a month, which is really helpful information. Thank you. What types of trainings do you want to see offered? The number one priority was Canvas features, blueprints, new quizzes, enhanced rubrics. Absolutely, we can definitely provide training on those new features. New features and Design Plus are kind of the big interests right now. Thank you for that feedback. Really appreciate it. And then how familiar are you? 0 being what is RSI and 5 being I'm an expert. We've got some almost experts in the room. So wonderful. I don't think you could see that. Wasn't sharing the results, but there you go. Those are the results. Thank you so much for participating. It really helps us sort of figure out who our audience is, and where folks are at and what they want from us. So thank you. Let's see, we're at 9:57. I'm gonna keep, okay, I've got Janice with her hand up. Go there first.
I just wanted to chime in that because of the accreditation that's going to be happening process, we will be sending out more regular communication about our workshops. So we're going to try and send out weekly communication about the workshops, especially about the RSI, even though you guys are already experts about it, but just for the rest of the population. And I just wanted to let you know that's the reason why we're doing it.
And then I think I saw someone else's hand up.
I can't figure out how to raise my hand anymore. Like, what is the deal?
We disabled it for you.
Oh, did you really? So I could just...
No.
Everybody else gets a cute
It's
little
under
hand.
reactions, Natalie.
Under react.
They moved it to the heart.
Under more, I think. Everything's all
under
now.
more.
No, go to the heart. The heart
I'm
at
at
the
the
bottom.
heart, and the heart just gives me two options: play chime and recognize hand gestures. And it doesn't I don't have raised hand or anything, so I don't know.
Don't click the little carrot next to the heart. Click on the actual heart.
Thank you.
Scroll down. Yeah.
Thank you. I see it there. Okay, I was like, I don't want to heart it. I want to raise my hand. Okay, got it. Thank you. I just wanted to ask a question. Well, that was one of them. I'm going to do an online synchronous class this semester. And I didn't know because it sounded, Allison, like you were going to wrap up early. And I thought, let's extend this meeting. But I wanted to know if anybody had any pro tips for engaging students in live online Zoom classes. So like an online synchronous. And I liked the poll, the survey that you just did. That was a good one. And then, yeah, that was one of the main things. Is I don't know if anybody has any tips or tricks for that. I would appreciate them, and I'm happy to take them in the comments if you know, or if anybody's just has been doing that and would like to chat offline about it, I'd be happy to hear. And then the other thing is, can we ask students to show their faces or like be required to be present? I don't know if anybody knows that in live online classes. So those are a couple of my questions. Hopefully somebody has had experience and could maybe chat me up. Thank you.
Annette, do you have a comment related to that or a different question?
So I'll kind of work through it backwards. First of all, requiring them to show their image, I think I would say no, you can't require them. You can encourage them. But oftentimes I can't even, if I'm working from home, sometimes I can't show my image because of slow internet speed. It'll actually boot me out of the meeting. And when you're the host, it's really embarrassing for you to get booted out. So, so sometimes I leave mine turned off just for that reason. So, in order to make sure that they're really there and participating, you got to ask them to, put something in the chat or answer questions or verbally participate. Um, I call on people during the Zoom session. I'll call somebody out and say, hey, answer this question or give me feedback on that. Um, if I try to call them 2 or 3 times during the class and they never respond, then obviously they weren't really there. But so there's that part, if you're trying to figure out. And as far as keeping them engaged, yeah, just I kind of lecture by question, so I ask my students to participate in a discussion rather than just listening to me talk. So hopefully that might help also.
Thanks for sharing, Annette.
And I have a class where they can come either in the classroom or via Zoom. So I'm in the classroom. I've got some students attending via Zoom and some students sitting in the classroom with me. So it gets it gets a little challenging at times, but it works once you get the swing of it.
I just have some real brief comments. I am an authorized outreach trainer for OSHA, and we probably can't do this in our environment, but they required everyone to be on camera or they're booted out of the class. But as far as interaction, I did a lot of trainings during the pandemic, and I would try to engage them through the reactions quite a bit. And if I saw someone not doing, I like to periodically ask, you know, a leading question and say, give me a thumbs up or whatever. And the is just a convention to get them to keep engaging, and then you know who to call on periodically if they're not engaging. And then breakout rooms work out pretty well, but you visit each breakout room during the breakouts, and then you ask for them to have a share out when they come back to the main group on whatever the activity was.
And Ariana has her hand up. I want to make sure she has a chance.
Thank you. Can y'all hear me? I'm using my AirPods, so I want to make sure that y'all can hear me. Great, thank you. So I want to echo that we cannot require students to be on camera. It is a FERPA thing, but it's also in protection of privacy for students. If they're not in a space stable or secure enough, we don't want that to be put on blast. As somebody who teaches communication studies and specifically with public speaking, that is the only time that I require students to have their cameras on. And if they're in a breakout room, I encourage them to so that they can communicate with their peers, but only when they're speaking to an audience or giving a speech or presentation are cameras required to be on. If I'm talking, they don't have to be on. And if they are unable to turn their cameras on, they've already communicated with me in advance. I also use the reactions, the chat very frequently and give options for students to respond either in the chat or unmuting themselves. In terms of engagement, the other thing I use non-Zoom built-in mechanisms of engagement. So Padlet is one that I use a lot. You can also use like Google Slides. There's a lot more features that Zoom has built in and integrated now to increase engagement and participation during a live session. And the other, I also want to echo visiting breakout rooms. So having them in breakout rooms and having them responsible for something tangible that can either be shared or posted later in a Canvas is also super helpful. And somebody takes the responsibility of writing that. And I like to use Google Slides specifically because I can see who's working in and on what slide while also visiting the breakout rooms. But with all of the different features that have changed in Zoom, it's important that a lot of it is really like trial and error, because some works and are really great and they like them, and others are not as great. I hope that helps.
All right, wonderful. I love this conversation, but we do have a lot of other things to say. So if Christy, if you have a quick comment to make, and then we'll continue on.
Sorry, I just put it in my Zoom. I'm sorry, I put it in the schedule. It's noted that the Zoom being on camera it will be required. So I think if you give them that extra notice in the schedule, that's sufficient.
All right, wonderful. So thank you so much. You can always reach out to each other or type in the chat if you have more ideas. But we are going to move forward, starting to talk about accreditation. And Allison will pick up on this in just a moment. So we have accreditation coming up starting this fall, or the process begins this fall. They won't be on campus. But to give some information as this is starting to ramp up here. So ACCJC is the accrediting commission for community and junior colleges. And we'll share these links in the chat in just a few minutes here. So everything, all the information that you ever could want is on their website. They make the requirements really clear, and most of our online classes are already meeting this standard. And if not, it's relatively easy to fix. And they do also have the quality continuum rubric for distance education available that you can kind of use as you're looking at your course, available on their website as well. So part of this of RSI in accreditation, so regular and substantive interaction, is kind of is divided up within the ACCJC's website of substantive interaction and then regular interaction. So they're kind of two distinct sections within the rubric. In terms of substantive interaction, it dictates that instructors must engage students using at least two of the following methods. The first one, direct instruction, of course, is synchronous only, and so that doesn't really apply to our online courses. However, there should be some sort of assessment and feedback taking place, responding to content questions, and possibly facilitating discussions. So it does note that should be at least two of these methods throughout your course. We have here what counts as substantive interaction and what doesn't. Hopefully this can give you a kind of clear outline of what could count versus what would not. So things that would count would be like instructor created videos and lectures, and giving students a chance to interact with you, leaving comments on those videos, and adding in their own feedback. All right. And then Allison, if you wanted to take over this slide.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I had to step away for just a moment. I drank too much coffee this morning, guys. Okay. Are you sharing or am I still sharing?
I'm sharing, but you could take over.
Okay. One moment. Thank you. Okay. And I'm sorry, Tara, where did you leave off here?
Next slide.
Next slide, thank you. Okay, so Tara was talking about what counts as substantive interaction. We're going to spend much more time on this during our RSI session, which is the next block during WoW today. So if you want more information on that, we'll definitely go into detail there. But things that you can consider as counting toward substantive interaction include instructor-created videos or lectures, detailed feedback on assignments, not automated feedback, responding to student questions as they pertain to course content, guiding discussion boards, live online sessions or synchronous sessions, audio or video feedback on assignments is also wonderful. Things that don't count toward that substantive interaction include automated grading only. So while that is awesome, definitely keep doing that. You want to supplement it with your own comments. You want to be providing that personalized feedback to your students. Generic announcements, while again, can be helpful, be sure that you're providing that instructor presence, right? Like you're really there. It's not just a computer and AI running your course, right? Don't replace the instructors with AI. Just posting materials, student-to-student interaction only. We want to make sure that the instructor is present there. And third-party content without any instructor mediation. Rebecca, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say about the automated grading. I get that with Harmonize, like I have to go in and make adjustments and leave comments for students. When I use Perusall, which is the collaborative annotation platform for class readings, I set up the scoring metric to my specifications. It's a little bit of a learning curve, but you can figure out how to teach it how to grade it the way you would. It offers students feedback on how they could have improved. So I participate in the conversation in the margins, responding to students there. But I mean, if they ask me, like, what could I have done better? I'll show them how to look up the feedback that is given to them by the platform. So is that okay? Like if I'm participating in the conversation, it's being graded as though it were me. It's my little AI clone. And it's giving the students feedback about how they could have improved their score. Am I in the clear there?
I think as long as you're engaging in those conversations that are happening in Perusall, you're okay, right? You're still participating in that learning, right? In the margins, like you said, right?
Yeah. I participate a lot in there. So
yeah.
But I can only do that because the grading is automated for me, right? Because otherwise I would be spending all that time, doing the scores and giving them feedback that way. So I find it's better to just participate with them. They like that.
Yeah, you have to choose what's going to be most valuable to your students, where putting your time is going to be most valuable. And it seems like you've made a good choice there. Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay, so there are a lot of questions about how much of this RSI is needed. I'm just looking at the remainder of our slides. We have quite a few. So I just want to provide a little overview and we can give you these resources again for you to take a look at outside of this flex session. But the ACC JCR accrediting body does provide rubrics to their reviewers. This is exactly the rubric that they will be using. And our classes need to meet at least two of these categories at least the initial level. There are 4 levels here, right? Initial, emerging, developed, and highly developed for each of these categories. And we just need to meet initial. Obviously, it would be great to be at the highly developed end of that scale, but in order to pass, we need to just be at the initial end of that scale. So we have a link here for this exact rubric. We are not going to go over section A here because that is providing direct instruction, which we don't do in our asynchronous courses. So it's a moot point anyway. So we're going to be focusing on B, C, and D here, these sections. So section B is assessing or providing that feedback on students' work. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're providing at the bare minimum grades with some non-automated feedback on assignments. Obviously, more of that non-automated feedback is better, but at least some is what's expected of this section B. Section C is providing information or responding to questions about the content of a course or competency. And I think that's really key here. You can't just be communicating with students about logistics of the course, but really talking about the course content and their own competency of that course material. So you want to be providing instructional content like video, audio, or recorded presentations, or interactive lessons that are clearly created by the instructor, right? Clearly created or mediated. And then responding to questions pertaining to the course content. That's like the initial stage. Section D, facilitating group discussions regarding the content of the course or competency. So again, they're looking for 2 of these 3 relevant categories. So if you are not facilitating group discussions, but you are providing information and responding to questions about content, and you're assessing and providing feedback on student work, then you're good, right? You don't have to do all 3. You can. That's great. But don't feel like you need to do all 3. Pick the 2 that you can really accomplish here. So you can facilitate group discussions. You're providing prompts, questions, or topics that engage students, again, at that initial stage. At the highly developed stage, though, you're providing comments or guidance in those discussions. You're really engaging with students and posing questions and that sort of thing. So I know I went through that pretty quickly. Again, I just want to make sure that I'm leaving enough time at the end here for you folks to ask questions. I want to talk about what regular means. Sorry, I'm opening up my chat, just making sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. So regular interaction is most substantively interact in 2 ways. Okay. On a predictable and regular basis. So the students have to kind of know when you're going to be interacting with them. Are you going to be sending them weekly announcements? Are you going to be providing feedback on a weekly basis, right? They have to be able to sort of predict when you're going to be communicating with them. This should be on a regular basis. We don't define regular, but regular for a 16-week course, really at least weekly, you should be interacting with students. That makes sense to at least when the Delight Committee has talked to one another, weekly is appropriate. Through monitoring and engaging when needed or upon request by students. So making sure that when students do request your interaction, that they're getting it. Okay, section A of that regular interaction section, providing the opportunity for substantive interactions with the student on a predictable, regular basis, commensurate with the length of time and the amount of content in the course of competency. So this information is really about like your course communication policies, like your syllabus and your introductory statements. They need to make it clear to students when they have opportunities to interact with you. So make sure that that's clearly outlined in your syllabus. In addition to office hours and if you'll be interacting in discussion boards and that sort of thing. Section B is that monitoring piece, so monitoring the student's academic engagement and success and ensuring that the instructor is responsible for promptly and proactively engaging in substantive interaction with the student when needed on a basis of such monitoring or upon request by the student. Okay, so minimal interaction means minimal frequency of postings, feedback, or instruction throughout the term or with individual students based on monitoring student engagement and success. And those policies or procedures create expectations for monitoring student academic engagement and success. That's the bare minimum that we're asking, right? Minimal, roughly weekly interaction with students. Again, more is better. All right. Just to break this down a little bit, these Part A predictable opportunities includes a syllabus that states when and how instructors are going to interact, scheduled student hours, even if no students attend. Offering those student hours is important if you're able to do so. Scheduled discussion, participation, and clear response time to expectations are all considered predictable opportunities. Monitoring, responding, that Part B, again, that's instructor tracking student engagement, reaching out to struggling students, and responding promptly when students need help, and providing that ongoing feedback throughout the term. I know this is a lot of information, but just to give you like a broad overview, this is what the rubric will look like for those course reviewers. They're going to be looking at multiple sections during accreditation. Ours will be almost entirely asynchronous courses. For that reason, they won't be looking for direct instruction, but they will be looking for assessment and feedback, providing information and responses to questions, and facilitating group discussions, at least 2 of those 3. And then they'll be looking for that regular interaction. And then marking whether or not those course sections meet substantive and regular interaction policy elements or not. This is exactly the rubric that they will be using for accreditation purposes. Probably the question that y'all are maybe asking yourselves is which courses are going to be reviewed. Even though this review will be occurring in spring 2026, they're going to be looking at courses from fall 2025. Okay, so that's right now, that's this semester. So your course could be pulled for this review. They will be looking at 100% online courses only. So if you teach only hybrid, you can relax, all right? Yours will not be pulled. They will be looking at 5% of fall 2025 online sections, somewhere between 15 and 50 different sections, randomly selected. Okay. These courses can be from any department, and we are looking for a pass rate of 85%. I think we can do this. This is completely doable. All that means is that if they pull 50 sections, we need 43 of those courses to meet at least that initial standard. Okay. We got this, people. We can do it. So all we ask is that you look through your courses, ensure that they are hitting the marks for the initial, the bare minimum requirements for RSI, and we got this, okay? Do you think you can do it? Give me a thumbs up if you think your course can meet these RSI expectations. Give me a thumbs down if you think not. You can do it. And if you need help, you have the whole distance learning team here to support you.
Is
Okay.
the
Yes.
rubric shared anywhere?
Yes. This rubric we will share out with these materials. We'll send you links to that rubric and all the ACCJC materials.
That would be great.
You can also Google it, but I'll make sure you get the most current version.
Okay, then I can do a thumbs up on that. I do have a question about the monitoring of interaction. So we get a lot of emails, when students are struggling or we're reaching out to students. Are they monitoring that too, or just what's in the class shell?
So they won't be able to see message content. They will be able to see how often you are interacting with students over Canvas messages, but not your email. Does that make sense?
So in Canvas or inbox?
Correct. Yeah, they will see the frequency of those messages, but not the content of those messages.
And so I have 2 roles. I teach and I'm a counselor. So how is that, separated in the inbox?
Oh, the inbox and actually maybe Cindy, if you're available, I might ask you to chime in. But as far as I know, the inbox actually has a separate section per course. They will be limited to seeing whatever course it is that they're reviewing. Is that right, Cindy?
So say it one more time. Can you repeat that question? Something about the accreditors, I think. Go ahead and repeat the question. Sorry.
So Cindy, I have 2 roles here on campus. I teach and I'm also a counselor. So, I just need, will they be able to, separate the 2 in terms of monitoring the interaction within our Canvas inbox?
We're still working on how we want to do that. Janice, do we remember what was the?
And if they don't, my rate will be really high.
At the last professional development where the VPI she was leading it, she said she would check with the ACCJC team to find out exactly what they want access to regarding the inbox, whether they'll just look at the analytics, the amount of emails that were being sent or whatever the interactions, or whether they actually will be requesting to see inbox emails. So that was the question. The same question was posed at that meeting, and that was her answer. So I'm sticking with that one.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And my understanding is they won't be able to see courses or see interactions with students who are not in the course that they're reviewing. Just to clarify that. So any like counseling emails maybe or messages that you have, if they're not tied to the course they're reviewing, they won't be able to see those.
I don't
If
think
you're
they'll see
concerned
emails
about
at
student
all.
privacy.
IT would have to give them access to email. So it's just the Canvas inbox that they may or may not have access to, depending on how these things are sorted out.
They will not be the emails. That question came up also, and it was conveyed that emails will not be part, personal separate emails outside of Canvas inbox will not be part of the process.
Right. Okay, we are down to just the last few minutes here, folks. So Tara, I know you had a couple of slides. Are you all okay if we leave time for questions?
I do have some resources towards the end. We can skip the next couple of them, but
Okay.
if we could hop down to the one that has the QR codes, maybe go
Yes.
back just one.
Okay.
So to share some resources with you all, I mean, we are here to answer your questions during the day, but if you're working late in the evening, over the weekends, we do have other resources available to you when you're working. So there's the faculty resource guide, which is a Canvas shell. We do update that and try to keep it as current as possible. There's a QR code there if you want to scan that. Distance Learning also does have a YouTube channel. We are up to over 75 videos on there, Canvas how-to, some Design Plus, accessibility, a little bit of everything. So please do use those resources to get help when you need it the most. And our latest exciting project has been creating 2 new chatbots through PlayLab. If you want to hop to the next slide. So we have ProfBot, which is like a companion to the faculty resource guide. For these chatbots, they do not take your information to use for any sort of AI training. PlayLab is a nonprofit that came out of UC Berkeley, so we're trying to be responsible with our information here. It may use some AI generated responses for their language, but it's mostly based on information that we have put in here. So there's a ProfBot, which is kind of general questions about teaching online. And then there's the RSI accreditation info chatbot. Again, there's no login required. You can choose to be anonymous in there. So these are here for you to use, ask questions. If you have any other questions or you're not getting a great answer out of the chatbot, you're more than welcome to email Distance Learning for us to answer your questions more fully. But these are here for you, and I'll copy and paste the links for these and put them in the chat in just a moment. Thank you.
All right. That was a ton of information, folks. Thank you for sticking through it with us. And thank you for all of your questions. They are very helpful in guiding the things that we focus on, especially right now at the start of the semester, making sure that we are accomplishing what we need to accomplish throughout the fall 2025 term. Again, some support for you. Make sure to register for workshops as you see them in ProDev. We've got that faculty resource guide. We have our YouTube channel, and then be sure to email distance learning at sierracollege.edu if you have questions, and it'll get to the right person. In the last minute, any burning questions that we can answer? We answered them all? No questions? I don't believe it. Y'all have been wonderful. Thank you again. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your WoW, and maybe we'll see you in the next session. Take care.
Thanks for all this great info. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Barry, you don't have your background of like Star Wars and stuff.
I'm in my
What?
office.